guys see that giant moon outside? Strange things are happening, that's why I'm a little bit late with Zelda Month! I bet you guys have been waiting for this, even though most of YouTube is now Zelda Month now during the month of November. But yeah, it's been kind of busy because of strange things happening with giant angry moon faces and an old man on the street telling me better not go alone. Who knows what's going on now? Everything's going crazy right now. Anyway, let's not delay any longer. Let's start off with Zelda Month with Hyrule Warriors for the Wii U. Hyrule Warriors is kind of a mishmash of a bunch of people all together in one giant epic story. The story begins with Zelda waking up from a nightmare. That's right, Zelda, not Link this time. Impa comes in, they talk about the nightmare, and then they kind of just brush it off, and then they go to the courtyard, where she meets a fine dandy trainee named Link. But there's no time for love. When evil is at your step, a huge army led by Wizro and Volga invade the land of Hyrule, and Link, Zelda, and Impa are here to stop them. However, at the end of the battle, Zelda's gone missing. Link and Impa travel the land of Hyrule in search of Zelda. In the meantime, they meet a young girl named Lana. She seems kind of out of place, but they eventually trust her and she joins them. Kind of a weird thing to do in a time of war. Shouldn't you not trust anyone when there's a bunch of weird people that you've never seen before invading your homeland? As they continue, they meet Sheik. For all you Zelda fans out there, or who play Smash Bros, you all know who Sheik is. You all know. Once they're all together, they finally meet the person who's pulling the strings for the giant army, a young woman named Sia. Well, maybe not that young, she's kind of grown into her assets quite well. Soon she takes the Triforce pieces from Link and Sheik, and for some reason she already has the Triforce of Power, and of course, Sheik is Zelda. Spoiler, I'm sorry. Did I forget to say that? Whoops! Sheik takes the Triforce and then pulls in a bunch of different timelines from Zelda history. You have the timeline from Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword. Along with these little bits and pieces from the timeline, you also have some characters that come along with them. In the Ocarina of Time timeline, you have Darunia of the Gorons and Princess Ruto of the Zoras. In the Twilight Princess timeline, you have Midna and Agatha. And for Skyloft, you only have Fi, and they all must come together as one to defeat Sia and rid her from Hyrule. And also, they really need to get those pieces of the Triforce back. This is the first time that I've seen a villain have all the pieces of the Triforce. Kind of scary. Surprised she didn't do more with it. But let's see how all these battles come out with gameplay. Have you ever played a Dynasty Warriors game? I've only played one myself, Dynasty Warriors 8, but I'm assuming all of them are pretty much the same. Basically, you face a massive army, and you're the only one that's really killing them all. But you don't only play as one character. You play as many different characters from the Zelda universe, from different timelines as well. A few of them are Link, Zelda, Impa, Sheik, Midna, Agatha, and Fi. And eventually, you can unlock some of the villain characters, like Volga, Wizro, Sia, and also Ganondorf. And there are a few others as well if you get the DLC. Now, you don't all play with just one set of weapons for each character. Well, some of them you do. As you play through the different modes that you can play in, you can earn new weapons and even upgrade them in the smithy section. Like Link also has a fire rod, and also eventually you get the Master Sword, which kind of nullifies all of his other weapons because the Master Sword is super overpowered. And for Ganondorf, you have his twin blades, and also eventually you can get a trident, which comes with a DLC. Now the most important part, the different modes that you can play in. There's the story mode, which is Legends, where you play through the general story of the game, and after a certain point in the story, you can actually play as the villains, but it's short-lived and it's kind of a disappointment. They really should have added a longer villain section, because that would have been awesome. Also, there is free mode, where basically you can play all the different maps from the story and kind of go at your own pace. There's also adventure mode, where you can go on the original Zelda map from the first game, and you go through each little section and you fight under certain conditions, like you have to beat all of these bosses in a certain amount of time, or you have to defeat a certain amount of enemies in a certain amount of time, or sometimes it's even a guessing game. They give you a little hint at what kind of enemy you're supposed to kill in this small little arena, where usually it's only like 2 or 3 that appear, and you have to figure out which is the correct one to proceed onwards. There's also challenge mode, but I've kind of ignored it for the most part. It's not a great mode. It's like free mode, but you also have certain conditions. So it's like free mode, or more accurately, it's like adventure mode with a little bit more difficult challenges, but you can skip challenge mode. Story mode and adventure mode are all you really need to play, because with adventure mode you can also get some new weapons. When you have more characters and you're playing through it mostly on your own time and not really just following the story, you already beat the story, more than likely your characters are all going to be different levels, like drastically different levels. There's a reason why they give you so many rupees when you fight. You can go and you can basically pay your way with your rupees to upgrade your character to the highest level character that you have currently. Let's say Link is at level 50 and your Impa is at level 20. You can pay to upgrade her to be level 50 if you have enough rupees, which really helps, because when you try to do these different modes with different characters and they're drastically under-leveled, it kind of sucks. Let's talk about how this game looks. For a Wii U game, I was expecting a little bit more HD, but honestly, everyone looks pretty good for the most part. However, when you're fighting and all your soldiers, or the enemy soldiers who aren't either generals, the main bosses, or anything like that, their animations are usually them just standing there in an idle pose ready to attack, but they don't attack because for the most part you're doing all the work, and it just kind of feels a little lame, to be completely honest. You don't really have that much help. And for, like I mentioned, generals, or in certain cases keep bosses, there's certain little areas where you have to take over an area, and in order to do that you have to defeat a certain amount of enemies, and then the keep boss appears. Kill the keep boss, then that place is your keep for your side. And of course you have some generals throughout the field. When you kill them, you can pick up materials, which helps you upgrade for badges or potions. I've never used potions for this game. There's honestly no reason to be making potions. But like I said, you can use them for badges. Badges kind of help upgrade your character as well. So you have stronger combos, more of a meter for special attacks, and also so you can take a little bit more of a hit from certain kinds of enemies, because some enemies hit harder than others, and also you don't want your whole entire health depleted. So of course, upgrade your defense. And of course, you can't forget about bosses. Bosses are always fun. You get these little items from chests eventually, and they help you defeat each boss. You have King Dodongo, Goma, and a few others. The boss fights here are pretty good. It makes it really feel like a Zelda game. The music is kind of almost like a rock version of Zelda themed songs. You have the normal Zelda theme song, you also have Zelda's Lullaby, Hyrule Field theme, all these bunches of themes. Some of them are original, very few. Some of them don't sound kind of the way they're supposed to, at least that we Zelda fans know these songs as. But the music is pretty good. It gets you hyped up to kill a bunch of enemies and save Hyrule. Not more in an epic way, more of like a let's run around really, really fast and kind of almost dance our way through to victory. Or headbang our way through to victory, depends on the song. Of course, there's always some fanfares as well, like when you open up a chest. Ta-na-na-na. It's always great when you open up a chest. Sometimes you get these weapons, which are great. Sometimes when you open up these chests, you get these secondary weapons. You get the bomb, the hero's bow, the hook shot, the boomerang, a bunch of these weapons. And sometimes when you kill a bunch of enemies, they drop kind of like an upgrade for it. So if you find an upgrade for the bomb, you're tossing a giant sized bomb. Or when you get the hero's bow power up, you can shoot 3 arrows at a time, and it just hits a slew of them in a line. And it goes through them too, so it hits them in the back too. Let's just say it's a very interesting way of playing a Zelda game. I kinda like it. Hyrule Warriors is not your average Zelda game by any means. In fact, it's more closer to the Dynasty Warriors series. Some say it's just a Dynasty Warriors game with a reskin, but I think it's a little bit more than that. Dynasty Warriors never really had bosses like in the Zelda series. Every boss fight was, even though kind of repetitive, then again, Dynasty Warrior games are pretty repetitive. But something about all these added boss fights and the story just got to me. Maybe it's because I'm a Zelda fan and that's what this game is meant for. This is meant for a Zelda fan who wants something a little bit different. If you're a real traditional Zelda game fan, I don't recommend this for you. But if you're a general Zelda fan, like someone who loves it so much and wants to give anything Zelda a try, I strongly urge you to try it out. I know the Switch is coming and people don't really touch their Wii U's anymore, but this is a game that I strongly suggest you should get for your Wii U. If you have one, I really hope you guys do. It's not that bad of a system. Has some pretty good games, but I'm getting way too ahead. For Hyrule Warriors, I'm gonna give this game a 7.5 out of 10. It's above average, but it is very repetitive. The story was great, it was fine. The only thing is with Zelda games, most Zelda fans want to travel through a dungeon, which that was a big thing that we didn't really have. We had these different maps, but no real dungeon, to be completely honest. We still had boss fights, great story. All these different modes are pretty fun as well. Repetitive, but they're fun. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed that review. It's gonna be a little different now this Zelda month. I just got a message from a little fairy telling me that I have been summoned to fight a great evil. So, looks like I'm gonna be going on an adventure for our next video. Let's just hope it's not too difficult. You know, I got things to do, places to be. Unless I get the Master Sword. That would be awesome if I can actually use the Master Sword. Fight some evil. Well guys, hope you enjoyed this review. This is Caretaker signing off, and hope you guys are enjoying your Zelda month. See you later guys.